Welcome to Horror Echo. Step into the shadowy realm where fear whispers in the dark and echoes of the unknown resonate through every corner. Your guide through the chilling stories and spine-tingling legends that lurk just beyond the edge of reality. Here, we unravel the darkest mysteries and face the unexplainable, one tale at a time. Prepare yourself, as we delve into the macabre and the eerie, where every sound, every shadow, and every story has a haunting echo. Are you ready to hear the echoes of horror? Hit that subscribe button and join us on this chilling journey. When Emily and her family moved into the old Victorian mansion on Willow Lane, they were immediately struck by its captivating allure. The house, nestled deep within a dense forest, exuded an air of bygone grandeur. Its ivy-clad walls and weathered wooden floors whispered tales of the past. Though the mansion had stood vacant for years, its haunting reputation, scattered across local legends and whispered by townsfolk, did little to deter them. Emily, a writer seeking seclusion and inspiration for her next novel, was enchanted by the house's charm. Her husband, Mark, a dedicated lawyer, and their curious 6-year-old daughter, Lily, were equally eager to make the house their home. Each family member quickly fell in love with their chosen spaces within the sprawling estate. However, from their very first night, Emily sensed an unsettling presence, as though unseen eyes were scrutinizing their every move. Whispers in the dark. The unsettling feeling of being watched grew stronger as the days went by. Emily often caught fleeting glimpses of shadows skittering out of sight and heard faint, indecipherable murmurs that seemed to drift through the air. Though she tried to rationalize these experiences, attributing them to stress from the move or an overactive imagination, a persistent feeling of dread took root. Lily was the first to openly acknowledge the presence. One evening, as Emily was tucking her daughter into bed, Lily's eyes grew wide with fear. "Mommy," she whispered, "the man is watching us again." Emily's heart raced. "What man, sweetheart?" "The man in the corner," Lily replied, her small finger pointing to a shadowy spot in the room. "He doesn't talk, but he's always there, watching us." A shiver ran down Emily's spine. She glanced toward the corner Lily indicated, but saw only the darkened shapes cast by the furniture. "It's just your imagination, darling," Emily said, trying to comfort her daughter while masking her own unease. Yet, deep down, Emily couldn't shake the creeping suspicion that something sinister was indeed at play. The mysterious presence. The peculiar occurrences in the house grew more frequent and disturbing. Doors would creak open on their own, objects would go missing, and certain rooms would inexplicably grow frigid. Emily struggled to concentrate on her writing, her mind increasingly preoccupied with the strange phenomena. One night, as she was burning the midnight oil in her study, she heard soft, deliberate footsteps outside her door. Assuming it was Lily, she called out, but received no response. The footsteps continued, drawing closer with a deliberate slowness that made her heart pound. Emily braced herself as the doorknob began to turn slowly. She held her breath, expecting to see her daughter or husband, but the door remained firmly shut. The footsteps ceased. Trembling, Emily approached the door and flung it open, but the hallway was empty. The air was charged with a cold, oppressive energy that seemed to suffocate her. For the first time, Emily felt a deep, gnawing fear. Something in the house was profoundly wrong. Uncovering the past. Determined to uncover the source of the malevolent presence, Emily delved into the house's history. Her research revealed that the mansion's previous owner, Victor Kane, had mysteriously vanished decades earlier. Rumors hinted at his involvement in dark, occult practices, suggesting that his spirit might still be trapped within the house, unable to move on. Seeking further information, Emily contacted Mrs. Collins, a local historian with extensive knowledge of the area's past. Mrs. Collins agreed to visit, bringing with her a collection of old documents and photographs. As they sat in the dimly lit parlor, Mrs. Collins shared the chilling details of Victor Kane's life. She explained that Kane was obsessed with the notion of immortality and believed that by observing others, he could extend his own existence beyond death. He was known in the local lore as the Silent Watcher, Mrs. Collins said, her voice quivering with apprehension. People say his spirit is still bound to this house, eternally watching, waiting. At that moment, a cold gust of wind swept through the room, scattering the papers and snuffing out the candles. Both women recoiled in shock, their eyes darting around the room. They felt it, a chilling presence, as if an unseen figure was standing right behind them, silently observing. Intensifying hauntings. In the days that followed, the hauntings grew increasingly intense. The whispers became more audible, a cacophony of disembodied voices that seemed to seep through the walls. Shadows moved with a life of their own, twisting and elongating into unsettling shapes. Even Mark, who had always dismissed paranormal claims, began experiencing disturbing phenomena, dark, spectral figures appearing at the edge of his vision, and an unsettling cold touch brushing against him in the dead of night. Lily, once full of laughter and curiosity, became withdrawn and fearful, her once bright demeanor replaced with a fearful silence. Emily realized they had to leave, but an inexplicable force seemed to thwart every attempt to escape. Car keys would vanish, doors would lock themselves, and an overwhelming sense of dread would grip them whenever they tried to leave. The silent watcher had ensnared them, his hold tightening with every passing day. Confronting the entity. Driven to desperation, Emily decided she had to confront the spirit directly. One night, after everyone else had gone to bed, she resolved to stay in the parlor, the room where the presence was strongest. Gathering her courage, she spoke aloud into the darkness, demanding the spirit reveal itself. The room grew deathly cold, and shadows coalesced into a tall, menacing figure in the corner. Emily's heart raced as she faced the silent watcher, a spectral entity with hollow, penetrating eyes that seemed to pierce through her very soul. "Why are you here?" Emily demanded, her voice trembling yet resolute. The figure remained silent, but Emily felt a wave of emotions crashing over her, profound loneliness, overwhelming despair, and an insatiable hunger for life. It dawned on her that the silent watcher was trapped, bound to the house by his own dark desires and obsessions. With a soft, compassionate tone, Emily spoke, "You don't need to watch anymore. You're free to move on." The figure hesitated, as if contemplating her words. Gradually, it began to dissipate, the oppressive atmosphere lifting from the room. The house, once suffused with an air of dread, now felt lighter, as if a heavy burden had been lifted. Departure and reflection. The following morning, the house was eerily quiet, but the oppressive atmosphere had vanished. Emily, Mark, and Lily hurriedly packed their belongings, determined to leave Willow Lane behind. They departed without a backward glance. As they drove away, Emily couldn't help but glance in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the dark figure watching them from the window. But the mansion stood silent among the trees, no longer under the watchful gaze of the silent watcher. Though they never spoke of their experience again, the haunting memories lingered in Emily's mind. She often wondered whether she had truly freed the spirit or if it remained, waiting in the shadows for the next unsuspecting soul to cross its path. In moments of solitude, when the wind rustled through the trees and shadows danced on the walls, Emily would feel a faint, chilling sensation, as if those hollow, penetrating eyes were still watching her from the darkness, a silent, eternal observer. Thanks for tuning into Horror Echo. If tonight's tale sent shivers down your spine and made your heart race, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with fellow horror enthusiasts. Your support helps keep the dark stories alive and echoes through the void. For more spine-chilling content and to ensure you never miss a frightful update, subscribe and click the bell icon. And remember, the darkness might seem far away, but it's always closer than you think. Until next time, keep your lights on and your fears close. The echoes of horror are always waiting.